I'm cutting a 6-inch tenon on top of this, so easy enough. Now the actual tenon on this is going to be cut 5 inches wide, 2 inches thick, if you will. And so I need to cut deep enough in here so that when I come in with the sawmill and clear this shoulder off, that this just cuts right off. And then I need to cut off enough here so that I get the same result. Now I've cut both sides, and because I've done that, I don't need to try to mark, square, or anything this way. I'm just going to use the edges, and that's going to align my guide, and then I only have to cut deep enough to make sure I get the 5-inch tenon. In this case, I only need to cut about 1 1/8 inches deep. Well, it just so happens that while I was working on the posts here, the mail person came today and delivered a package, and I wonder if you can guess what this is. It has to do with this project. So well, look at that. It's my new framing chisel. I've got a lot of different tools in my shop. I don't have any chisels that are this big, and so it was a tool that I knew would be helpful, especially when it came time to start refining these tenons and, you know, getting all of the mortises perfect. And so you're gonna see me using this. Well, y'all, let's go on to the next step. This is the other end of the post, and this is the end that is going to go into the bracket, the big metal bracket in the concrete. And I don't have to be as super precise with this, but this needs to be cut down to 6 inches so that it will be fit into that bracket. And it only needs to be 6 inches one way. The other way, it can be up to 7.5, 7.75, which is what this post is. So I just have my basic circular saw on the square, line it up, and cut the depth I need. Once I get a battery in here. That just shows you this is real life, folks. I want to show you something here that I think is really neat. This barn is being made from 2 different kinds of wood. One of them is pine and the other one is spruce. Now both of these are basically old growth timbers. Now I'm sure you can see on the camera the growth rings on the pine, but can you even see the growth rings on the spruce? The growth rings on this are so close together, and that's one of the signs that this is true old growth spruce. And I counted already from the pith of the tree all the way out to this edge, and I counted 107 rings. So from here to here, this piece alone is 107 years old. Now the beams that are going to be the top supports for this barn, which you'll see later, are also from old growth spruce. And so this is the kind of stuff that you don't see very often, and it's one of those things that to me makes this barn very, very cool. Well, as you can see behind me here, I've got all of the posts now prepared, just like that. Movie magic, see? And what I've got to do is get these off of the forklift one at a time, get them loaded on the Wood-Mizer, and then I'm going to start cutting all of the tenons and things like that on these posts. Now, there's a metal bracket that these have to fit in, so one dimension of these posts has to be 6 inches. And then I have to go around and cut the tenon on the other end. I've made myself a little bracket here, a little guide, that I'll basically just slide on the end, and this is 2 inches and 6 inches deep, and that will sort of help me guide as far as the thickness I'm cutting. That takes some of the guesswork out of it, and makes sure that when I go ahead and cut all the mortises that these tenons are going to fit in them. Well, I'm already half worn out for the day, honestly. It's been quite a lot of work moving these posts around, even with the assistance of the forklifts at times. Each one of these posts, depending on the moisture content and the species, is probably somewhere between 200 to 350 pounds. So yeah, it's been a beastie kind of day. But we're not done yet, and there's joy in the labor. So let's keep going. Well, this is the tenon now that we've made. I tell you, it sure is nice to have a sawmill to be able to do these things. It is a luxury that I know not everyone has, and so I'm thankful for that. And this tenon is going to get one large peg through it that's going to go into the beam that is going to sit on top of this. So far so good cutting the tenons on the ends of these posts, except I did have one here that had a crack across the pith, and when I started cutting the tenon, the piece broke off. And I've got the piece right here, and so I'm going to show you what I intend to do to fix this. And here's my solution. Loctite 5-minute epoxy. And I'll tell you why. Because it's going to get up to about 50 degrees today. Minimum temperature for this stuff is about 38 degrees. And so it's great. You know your glues. If you're trying to use a normal wood glue or something like that, it's not going to work for this because the glue is not going to have its bonding strength in those temperatures, and it will more than likely just freeze. And so we're going to mix this up, and then we're going to clamp it on the end of the tenon, and it's going to be a few days till I get back to these. And so by the time I get back to it, it'll be more than set and ready to go. So a little bit of squeeze out, and that's all I'm really looking for to make sure that the epoxy is inside of there. We don't want to over clamp it and squeeze it all out either. Just working it into different cracks here, making sure that it's totally in there. Modern day adhesives are just amazing. And so the barn build continues. I am getting so excited to see this project done, and we're getting very, very close to being able to start thinking about raising the barn. So in the next video, you're going to see me make a special jig for mortising all of the beams that these posts are going to fit in, and you won't want to miss that. If you're new to my channel and this is the first time that you've seen me, please go back and watch all of my previous videos. Hit the subscribe button if you would. I would appreciate that a lot. And then hit the like button and that little notification bell to be notified of future videos. Also, if you feel so inclined, you can leave your positive comments in the comments box below. Thanks guys. God bless you all. We'll see you next time.